Hello and welcome. I'm DeVere, and this is Turn Your Show into Cash. Boy, I have another great episode for you. I have an amazing special guest for you. He's actually is one of the top trainers in the world, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as many others are concerned. He is the master trainer to online presenters. He is Alex Mandossian, and you're going to be thrilled that I have managed to get him for you. So actually, I'm just going to jump right on. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. You have no idea how thrilled I am to have you on today.
Listen, Ann, my mother Carol always asks me, what is it that you do? And I'm just going to give her that introduction so she can finally appreciate what is it that I finally do. Thank you for that.
Well, I'd be happy to echo that again. No, so you have actually had such a huge impact on my life in how I present and what I do. Way back from when I started learning how to present on teleseminars. So your program, Instant Teleseminar, had a huge impact, and all the lives of so many other people that I have surrounded myself with because of the great content or what you have taught us to actually teach with. And that's the important thing, to deliver a lot of great value. So having said that, you have gone from teleseminars along the way. I don't know, many years you've been training the who's who of internet marketers and online presenters, and now we are on to Google Hangouts. And this is where I couldn't resist it. I just had to have you on because I know that this is where you're making a huge splash, making a big difference once again. So let's dive right into it, because I have some really cool questions to ask you. And by the way, everybody, you want to go ahead and grab your handouts while we're talking, and so just look below. There will be a link where you're going to go to. But we definitely want to be ready for this. Grab your pen, grab your pencil, open up your Word document, and definitely have your handouts. So you want to take notes as we go, because every word that comes out of Alex's mouth is another pearl of wisdom. So let's just hop to it, and it is what it is. That's how I always tell it, like it is. So Alex, let's get right into it. I know that you have this passion for making a difference, and I know you have this passion for solving urgent problems, and we have some urgent problems right now. Now, can you just tell us what we're dealing with at this particular time? And I'm just going to hop over to you. So what are we dealing with right now?
One word: overwhelm. We are overwhelmed in this over-marketed, over-communicated, too many choice environment that we're in, between social media and our normal lives and email, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google, television, cable TV, the news. There's just an overwhelm, too many things in the foreground, and it is an urgent problem because it's caused too many distractions, and it causes people to stay stuck. That's why the coaching business has just boomed, because overwhelm keeps you stuck. Now, Albert Einstein once said that nothing happens until something moves, and so movement is life. If you look at what movement is, whether you're an animal, a human being, or you're just a vegetable of some kind growing, a plant, movement is life. That bamboo in back of me, movement is life. And so the goal is to keep your movement focused, and that's why we have an action guide. It's not just a handout. It's an action guide that I want you to print out. I've written it so that you can fill in the blanks, get a pen like old school, or a pencil. Life is writing your life with an eraser. I mean, you can always erase. Sloppy success is better than perfect mediocrity, but you want to control your focus, and that's what shatters overwhelm. So that's the urgent problem we've been in. The unique solution is the ability to present online, virtually, because just as many people go to seminars these days and immerse themselves in training, but they don't go to as many seminars. That's why seminar seats are empty, because they just go to a few versus a lot. Their time is much more valuable, and travel is not something that they're doing as much for the seminar business. So people are stuck in the training business because they don't know why people aren't showing up. It's not that they're not going to seminars. They are going to seminars. They just need to earn the right, they being the trainers, like I am. I'm a master trainer, the virtual or online presenters, and many of the names that you would know in the personal development field, internet marketing field, in the transformational leadership field. And they come to me as their marketing guy behind the guy or the gal, teaching them how to get unstuck and reach more people. So this show is about exposure. I'm on national and local TV teaching people how to get more exposure utilizing two of the most important websites on earth, Google and YouTube, and that is the way to get unstuck, and we're going to show you a step-by-step process. And the call to action for me is just do a Google Hangout. You don't have to buy a $2,000 course from me, which I teach how to monetize Google Hangouts, to learn how to do them. You will learn that today in the short time we spend together, Ann.
Awesome. I know we will. And I'm psyched. I'm very excited about bringing this to our very, very special audience. So to make this even more fun, Alex, what I would love for you to do is let's go back to how you got started with all of this amazing content that you teach in the first place, because you have been doing this for quite some time. So can you just take us back in time and just, how did you get started? What got you going in this teaching the amazing presenters that you do now?
Well, there's really three elements to any level of marketing or any business. There's your message, there's the market that you're sending the message to, that's the receiving end, and then there's the medium that's in between. So there's message, there's market, and then the medium, and hopefully media, because there are multiple ways of getting the message to the market and having a perfect message to market match using the right media. I started offline with postcards. And the reason I started with postcards in the late 1980s is because I would watch world-class copywriters who would be paid literally hundreds of thousands of dollars writing little teaser copy on an envelope just to get the envelope opened. And I thought, well, why should I send mail that is being clothed, with an envelope? Why not send naked mail? So that was a postcard, And plus, if you send it to a business office, everyone sees it. If you send it to a home, everyone in the home sees it. So I became a postcard marketer, and I was an offline copywriter. And it worked extremely well. I made my first 6 figures in business. I thought I had arrived, and I wrote a book on it, and I sold it. In fact, I sold it online, called Marketing with Postcards, and it did extremely well, and many of the internet marketing and the direct marketing gurus purchased it because no one really was talking about marketing with postcards at the time. It was something like...
I bought it. I bought it, and I still have it. We recently moved. I came across, and even I even have some of the sample postcards you included in there. And that's actually where I really got to know your brilliance. I'm like, oh my God, it's brilliant because, like you said, why do I want to cloak the message? Why not just send it naked? I'm like, oh my God, you definitely got my attention. It definitely works too. So I just want to let you know I still have it.
Right. Well, it's direct marketing porn is what it is. It's sending mail, and it's naked mail, and it worked, except there's one problem. It took about a week to 2 weeks to find out if the postcard campaigns worked, and we would have multiple postcard campaigns, so we would be in the campaign 4 or 5 weeks until we realized whether it worked or it didn't work. And so I turned to electronic marketing in the early 90s. And back then, infomercials were big. Ron Popeil and Guthrie Ranker and Tony Robbins and all these folks were clients of mine and the agency I was working for at the time in California, Southern California, in the city of Aurora. And what I found was that I could learn more with electronic marketing after sitting in the green room at QVC, one of the home shopping networks. There was also Home Shopping Network, HSN, in Florida. QVC was in Pennsylvania. And I learned something one day in the green room when everyone else was looking at the talent that we had taken there. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's world-renowned, and he had a grill. It was called the Quick Cook Grill. well-known celebrity, athlete. Everyone was watching him. I didn't care about him on stage on QVC. He was selling a lot of these. I was looking at the closed-circuit television because he had an infomercial that I thought I could improve because I love improving, just like as you're watching now. Never invent something. Being original is no good. Improve it. When Steve Jobs tried to be original, he lost in his first act of doing business at Apple. But then when he improved, what did he improve? The music business with iTunes. He improved the MP3 player with the iPod, the tablet with the iPad, the mobile phone with the iPhone, right? What he did is he improved. He didn't invent, and that became a mantra. Never invent, always improve. So I wanted to improve the infomercial. I thought we could do better. And so there's this closed-circuit television in the green room at QVC. It still probably is there. And they had the phone operators close by that were taking in all the calls. And when the talent was saying something, about 30 to 45 seconds later, there was all this closed-circuit television. It was like this giant, like I've seen both of my children born, like a giant contraction, that my then spouse was having, and then would go back down again, like Mount Fujiyama, right? Or Mount Ararat between you and me, we know what that is, or Mount Kilimanjaro, right? So it would go up and then go down again. And so what I would do is I would just keep track of the minutes of where those big mountains of orders would come in and then go back down. And then I'd go back, this is the VHS days and the beta days, and so I would have a burned master with a time code, and I would look at where the big bulge in orders that came in, and I would go just about 30 to 45 seconds, and I looked at what he had said. And what he had said had made a difference. These were little templates or sentences that made a difference. And so Socratically, like Socrates, the Socratic method, I looked at not myself as the genius, I looked at the audience as the genius. We changed the infomercials based on what he had said, and we did that again and again and again and again at HSN and at QVC. And we changed the way people wrote infomercials through testing and tracking. And I think I'm uniquely qualified in the area of electronic media because I've made more mistakes and I've lost more money. And by getting rid of what does not work, I found out what does work. And right now, the fastest, the easiest, the most economical way to have your own web TV show or any kind of show online and have instant exposure and reach, whether you're a divorced mom or a single dad, or it doesn't matter what walk of life, if you're just starting out, you're unemployed, or you're working part-time or full-time, if you're structurally unemployed, it does not matter. Even if you're a tech dummy like me, I don't know how to put up a web page, but a Google Hangout is the medium of choice because the market, the medium, and the message is all in one place, just like we're doing right now. And that fast forward 20 years later, this is where we are today, and I think we're making a difference, 2014.
Yes, we are. And Alex, on behalf of all of us who are leveraging your experience, thank you for making all those mistakes for us. Okay, so I just want to thank you officially because you are so good at taking a look at really examining, like you said, what works, what doesn't work, and improving it. You have paved the way for so many of us, and I sincerely mean it. I know you have made it so much easier for me. A lot of what I am doing right now with Google Hangouts and teaching people how to consume information and how to get it out there in a big way has, been impacted by what I have learned from you. So thank you for that. Okay, now we have you back on there. Let's see now. So, okay, hold on. There we go. Okay, so now with Google Hangouts, here's my take on Google Hangouts, and it basically is a very powerful broadcasting platform. That's the way I see it. And that's the way it is, because it's just a tool and how we use it makes all the difference. And I always say, put a paintbrush in my hand, I will paint a wall. Put a paintbrush in a master's hands, in an artist's hands, and they will paint a masterpiece. But if I go to the master and have him teach me step by step how to paint, I'm going to be doing a lot better than I was doing before. I may not be the artist, that everybody's going to, make the transformation for a lot of people's lives, but I will paint a lot better than I used to. So having said that, this is the time. I know that it's a very unique time in history, with what Google Hangouts has put in front of us. It's the wild, wild west of web TV. And so leveraging this opportunity is huge. And you have seen this coming. I know you've been at this for a couple of years now. You've been, right from the beginning, you've been testing and improving what you've been doing with Google Hangouts. So what changes have you seen in the last couple of years since it's been available to us?
Well, in the beginning with Google, at the turn of the 21st century, in the year 2000, Google was organizing the world with the search engine known as Google.com. And then YouTube came along, and then Google bought some other properties. And today with Google Plus, that's been around for about 3 years, Google is engaging the world. Because engagement is that level of intimacy, of connection that people need. And who better than Google than to do it? Facebook has taught us all how important, how much time people can spend just connecting and engaging with each other. LinkedIn has done the same. Twitter is the ADHD cousin of engagement. I love Twitter. I just can't keep up, with all the tweets that happen, and I need more than
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I always say I never said anything with 140 characters in my life. I'm not about to start now, so I just haven't figured it out.
It's our lineage. It's our lineage. So I believe that we're in the age of engagement, and if you ask any woman or man, typically a woman, why did you file for divorce? Which is like someone disengaging with us. And the number one reason she will say is because he stopped paying attention to me. Or if you ask a man, she stopped paying attention to me. So that is, they no longer were engaging with each other. But in the beginning, what were they doing prior to marriage? They were engaged, right? And so prior to marriage, most people get engaged, and that's like that's the exciting time frame, because nothing that other person can do is typically wrong, right? And then after a while, all the flaws are seen, the warts are seen, and then in many cases, 1 out of 2 times, it ends up in divorce. Well, that's no longer necessary in marketing or business. The key is to get engaged and stay engaged with as many people as possible, and you can do it at 0 cost with Google Hangouts. That's the beauty. Now there's Ustream and Livestream and GoToMeeting, and there's all kinds of teleseminar bridge lines that you can utilize, but they all cost money, whereas Google Hangouts are still free. Now, I will tell you that a German philosopher once said that all truth goes through 3 phases. First, it's ridiculed. Next, it's violently opposed. And then the third phase is that it's just accepted as self-evident. Well, we're in the ridicule stage at Google with Hangouts. And I love that stage because everyone else is moving against it and is ridiculing it, making fun. But I've already made 7 figures in income with Google Hangouts within the last 11 months at the time of this recording. In the beginning, about 2 years ago, which is about 15 years in real life, but 2 years online, I could barely get 7 to 10 people on a Google Hangout, and I'm the teleseminar king, right? They called me the Larry King of teleseminars. I couldn't get anyone on a Google Hangout because just people were not in the habit of getting online with Google Hangouts. But now we will routine. In fact, of the 7 to 10 people, 2 or 3 were family members, and the rest were my team members. That they weren't even people from my online list. But today we get 1,200, 1,600, 2,000 people on a Hangout, and there are thousands of comments. And the funny thing is, there's co-opetition, and because we're using G Plus comments and Facebook comments underneath the Google Hangout video player, so it's almost like the enemy, in this case Facebook, which is a co-opetition, no longer competition. We're using Facebook, which has a much better commenting stream, I believe, than the G Plus stream, and more people belong to Facebook. It's a much bigger social network than G+. So we're using Facebook and Google Plus to get comments, and what we're having is a social, transparent conversation, and you can have one about your topic and your message, because everything starts with the message. Okay, you are the message. And so if you are into this and you want to know how to start this process, then get that action guide out, grab a pen or a pencil and get ready, because I'm going to start flashing some cards and we're going to fill in starting with page 2, Ann.
Awesome. So we're ready to go. Okay, everybody, like Alex said, grab your pens and pencils, grab your notepads, or open up your Word document. Make sure you have the handout, open the action guide, open in front of you, and you're following through. Make sure you're filling in, okay? And if you need extra space, do what you need to do, take those notes. All right. So we are going to go ahead and start. Let me see. Okay, Alex. So we have the first thing I see on the action guide, the 3-part predicament now we face. So what are those?
Well, I'm gonna show you the action guide right here. At the very top, you see the 3-part predicament that you face as a marketer, as a human being. It says part 1, not enough, and there's a blank. Part 2, not enough, there's a blank. Part 3, not enough, there's a blank. Well, guess what? You're going to fill in these blanks, and any additional comments that you'd like to write, that's why I wanted you to print it out, you just write it in the useful takeaway section here. And then when we get to the law of growing any business, nothing happens until your offer is blank. I'm going to show you some cards. So that's going to be the pattern, and we're going to go through this pattern the entire time, and this is the way I teach with a Google Hangout. You can use the same thing. We do it on stage with a flip chart. We use action cards on a Google Hangout. So the first predicament people face in trying to make Google Hangouts work is they don't have enough skills. They don't have enough skills. So that's your first fill-in. If you don't have the skills to go online, start a Google Hangout just like we did, they're easy enough to learn. You don't need to purchase a $2,000 course, which I have from me. You can go to Google and learn how to do a Google Hangout. So how to do a Google Hangout, type that into Google, and you will find free step-by-step information. Here's the second predicament that people face, and the second part is they don't have tools. They don't have the tools. Well, you need a web camera. Okay, you can do it with a smartphone. This happens to be an iPhone, right? You can do it with any type of online connection as long as there's a video attached to it. I'm looking straight into a webcam, and so you need those tools and an internet connection to make this happen. And then the third thing that people are missing, the third part of the predicament, is not enough leverage. Now let me tell you what leverage is. Leverage, you can put it in the useful takeaways, a takeaway, something that you just literally take away and you use as an action. Leverage is maximum productivity with minimum effort. 5 words. Max productivity with min effort. Got it? Now, well, what's productivity? Productivity is max results in min time. Maximum results in minimum time. I know plenty of people who are productive but have no leverage. And you are incredibly productive, but what you're seeking now is more leverage because you have so much content. You want to leverage that content. Productivity is not enough. You get the results in as little time as possible, but you want maximum productivity with minimum effort, and that's what Google Hangouts can do, because instantly this Hangout will go into a YouTube channel, your YouTube channel. It's automatically recorded. You don't have to go through the recording mechanism. YouTube does that for you. You can chop it up and give little pieces and repurpose it like we're going to talk about later on in this show. And you know how to do that. As long as people learn how to do it themselves, that's where the leverage comes in. So in the beginning, I'll go a little slower. You don't have enough skills, which you'll learn in this Hangout. You don't have the tools. You're going to learn those in this Hangout, how to get them. I just want you to have leverage, maximum productivity with a minimum effort. And those are the first 3 fill-ins, and that's the way we teach, Ann.
I love the way you teach, Alex. And everybody, you know, we've been talking about leverage, and one of the stories that you already know about is how people are finding me because of the interviews I've been putting on Google Hangout, and in just finding. Everybody's looking for great content. So following what Alex is teaching you right now, you're going to be able to not only utilize Google Hangouts, but you're going to be able to leverage it to get more exposure. So I hope you're as excited as I am about this whole thing, because I'm taking notes right along with you, because This one thing I know about Alex, no matter how many times I listen to him teach, whatever the topic may be, there's always another takeaway or two or 10. So I'm psyched. Okay, let's go on, Alex. Let's go. Let's go to the law of growing any business. I love the law.
Well, the law that Einstein used to talk about, and energy was what he talked about, right? Energy equals E equals mc squared. He talked about that, where mass was m and c was the speed of light. E equaled energy. He said nothing happens until something moves. Well, the law of growing any business is nothing happens until your offer is exposed. Exposure is where everything starts. Now, you'll see that underneath that there are four types of marketing interaction. And it's critical because most people aren't familiar with these types of interaction. The first type of interaction is someone who's just simply exposed to your offer. They're not clicking, right? They're not opting in using their keyboard. They're just looking at your offer. Maybe they can be on Google Plus, they can be on your Facebook fan page or your profile page or on Twitter or LinkedIn. They're just looking. That first type of interactive person at the least intimate level is called seeker. They're seekers. That's type one. That's the first type of marketing interaction. Now, if the person who's seeking information, they go online and they look you up on, let's say, on Google, on Amazon, on Facebook, or wherever, that seeker can turn into a suspect, as type number two. A suspect is someone who uses their mouse or uses their keyboard and they're commenting, they're retweeting, they're plus oneing on Google Plus, they're liking on Facebook. That's a suspect. Now, they're more intimate than a seeker. In other words, they're more interested because they're interacting now, they're engaging, but they're not as intimate as a prospect, someone who actually comes in your circle in Google Plus or goes on your list, if you have an online list, or decides to call you and learn more about you. That's called a prospect. So you have seekers as type 1, you have suspects as type 2, type 3 are prospects, and type 4, they could be called customers, clients, they can be called students. I call them students. You were a student of mine for many years. They can be challengers if they're in a contest. They can be patients if you're in the medical field or wellness field. I just call them buyers as a catch-all term. And under useful takeaways, you can put, there is a fifth type, and this is what you want. And you just take them through that process. You start at the least engaged, which is seeker, and the most engaged is someone who buys a second time. If someone buys a second time, not an upsell where they're buying more in that first interaction of buying, but they actually come back and buy again, right? They can be in a membership site or they see something else you have, they buy again. We call those an advocate or a multi-buyer. Put that in the useful takeaway. Why is that so important? Because if all you did, if your entire purpose of being in business, this is my purpose, and of being in business is to create multi-buyers, then my entire business is set through a sequence of events. Seeker, right? That's type 1. Suspect, prospect, buyer, multi-buyer. I've gone to heaven without the inconvenience of dying. And that's what brings us to become an advocate. They advocate your business. They actually give you referrals. You want multi-buyers in your business. And so that's when you can just count on them to buy again and again and again and again. That's what you want to create. So when people say, why are you in business? Your response could be to create multi-buyers or advocates. And whether it's for a company that's in the service business, like insurance, or you could be a certified public accountant or car rental, or it could be in the retail business like Walmart or Target, or you could be a coach or a mentor or an information marketer like I am. Whatever type of business you're in, there's always a seeker that's going to turn into a suspect, then into a prospect, then eventually into a buyer and a multi-buyer. And sometimes they leapfrog. They go straight from seeker to multi-buyer. How? Because they got a referral, and that's what we want. We want as many advocates and multi-buyers out there to refer us, and those are the types that we're after for interaction.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, there's a point that I want to make with that. And Alex, I am a multi-buyer of yours, and after the marketing with postcards, oh my goodness, I just forgot the name. Before Teleseminar Secrets, you had the the whole massive package that had one of the modules was, marketing with teleseminars.
Yes.
So through learning that, I actually, I keep coming back because it's great content, but now everybody else is actually getting the benefit of me coming back because I learn more each time I interact with you. So the benefit of that is a lot of people are benefiting from that because I can continue to grow. So anytime that, I actually have a lot of people that say, well, I don't want to be pushy in people buying. Well, the more they buy, the more of you they get, the better off they're going to be, because there's no way we can teach one person everything we know in one interaction. If that's the case, we shouldn't even be in business as far as I'm concerned, because I'm always learning, I'm always growing, and I want to keep teaching other people. So the importance of this, what you just said, is huge. The multi-buyers are the ones who we are going to have the most impact on, and that means they're going to have the most impact on the lives of the other people that they are serving.
That's
This is huge, what
yeah.
you just pointed out. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you noticed it, and it's not a matter of being pushy. We're not pushing ourselves upon anyone. We're inviting them to a Google Hangout. So no one's making them watch. If they like what they see, just like, why are you still here? If you're watching, that means you're getting value. If the value is more than the time it's taking for you to watch this, and you want to continue to watch without multitasking, without being distracted, which is why we have this action guide, so you don't get distracted. I've done it deliberately, intentionally, to really manipulate your focus on this because it's that important. Well, then you've already just made you've taken a commitment for yourself and to the rest of the world that you are a multi-viewer, where you're viewing for multiple minutes, and then one day you may become a multi-buyer. I would put you in the prospect or as close to the buying phase as possible, because we're not selling anything here other than information. But as soon as we monetize this, which you will, then they become a buyer. So we've already gone from seeker to suspect to prospect. I think everyone watching right now, it's fair to say that we are very intimate prospects and learning from each other.
No, absolutely. And also, by the way, people coming back to watch your show over and over and over again also have, if they fall in this category, because the more they keep coming back, the more you grow your viewership, you will be able to have the bigger impact. And the more comfortable they are with you, the more they're going to want to be engaged with you, the more they're going to get in your coaching programs and everything else that you have going on. So you don't necessarily have to be selling anything to be able to really leverage the impact you have on other people.
I will tell you, the more exposure you get sell advertisers.
Yep.
And that's a huge way to generate income. So you don't have to sell anything directly, just by getting more reach and exposure. Nothing happens until your offer is exposed. Nothing happens until something is exposed. When you remember that, you are on the path to making money.
Awesome. Okay, so let's see, we are on to the 4 types of marketing interaction.
Well, we did that. We just did that.
Sorry. I did not scroll down. Okay, the 5 stupid hangout marketing mistakes. Okay.
The 5 stupid hangout marketing. Yeah. Now this is what's interesting. These are all stupid because I've made them more than once, all of them. And so you're looking at 5. There are many more than 5, right? But they're stupid. And what I want you to understand is a mistake is something to avoid. So I'm going to go through each one of them, and I want you just to write them down. And just so you save time, I want you to write down the word forget, because you can write down what you're going to forget here, where I'm showing you with my mouse, and I'm showing you a screenshot. So this is what Google Hangout allows us to do. A Hangout allows us to do a screen share, which is amazing if you think about it. And so every one of these is you're forgetting to do something. So here are the cards, step by step, forgetting. So just remember, save time, just write forget once, right? Don't forget to write forget. And here they are, one by one by one. I've even written forget in red. So forgetting, blue box. Now what's a blue box? Well, a blue box in a Google Hangout is where inside the Hangout, right now only Ann and I are inside this virtual Hangout room, and there's room for 8 more. a total of 10 people at the time of this recording can come inside a room. But outside, it can be broadcast to millions. His Holiness the Dalai Lama utilizes Google Hangouts. CNN's Anderson Cooper uses Google Hangouts. Billionaire Michael Dell uses it for his online help desk. There are people like Conan O'Brien, late night talk show host, uses Google Hangouts. Probably Oprah uses it and many, many others. Why do they do it? Because it's unlimited. President Barack Obama uses Google Hangouts. Now, if you forget to use the blue box, then because it's voice activated, if someone's coughing, then it'll go straight to them. And then the big screen that you see ends up going to the cough person, and the other person's talking is in the little screen down below. So forgetting the blue box can be very embarrassing. I have forgotten it many, many times. Right before this Hangout, I told Ann, I said, remember to blue box me, meaning she clicks on my video screen down below that she and I are looking at with her mouse, and that she's telling Google only show him. All right? Now, the next thing that you forget is the lower third. Alex, what's a lower third? You're looking at a lower third. Look how I'm promoting my website. It says, right, marketingonline.com. That's been there the whole time. My name is Alex Mandossian, right? Right here. Whoop, 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 right there, Alex Mandossian. Everything's backwards. And then I'm marketing online. That's called the lower third. That is a lower third that's been customized. Google gives you one as well. So lower third, if you forget that, you're wasting a lot of brandability. If you look at what Ann has, she has a lower third as well. The next forget, number 3, is forgetting a call to action. My call to action is do a Google Hangout. Alex, how do I do it? Well, just listen to what I'm saying. Take notes and go to Google and write down how to conduct a Google Hangout. You'll get free information without having to pay $2,000 for my course. So a call to action is what you always need. Hug your child tonight. That's a call to action. Raise your hand in victory. That's a call to action. Grab a pen and take notes. That's a call to action. Forgetting a physical call to action is an egregious, that means really bad, mistake. And then forgetting to start broadcast. Now, if Ann had forgotten to click on the broadcast button, which is a green button, and then it turns red, like I have forgotten many, many times, then nothing gets recorded. When nothing gets recorded, all of that was just for your benefit. It doesn't go into your YouTube channel. Nothing happens. There are 2 types of Google Hangouts. There's a Google Hangout on air, which is what you're watching now, and then there's what's called a Google Video, which no one else sees, but you allow other people to come into it, and you get to watch it internally. We always do Hangouts on air because there is a broadcast button, and it can be broadcast to millions. And then the 5th mistake that people make, and watch, I'll make it right now, is not to look at the web camera. If you forget the web camera, then you're looking like this, and you don't get to see my soul because the eyes are the windows to the soul. You can even do emphasis and go like that. Now, here's the point. When you're looking down, the first thing they're going to say is, Alex, you ought to use some Botox over there. What's going on, right? I'm proud to say I just turned 50, but I don't want people to I don't want people to see my forehead. Okay, so remember the web camera. Look straight into the camera. It may seem odd. I have a $90 web camera I'm looking at, not hundreds of thousands of dollars, 90 bucks. So mistake number 1, forgetting to blue box. Use your mouse and blue box the person. What's a blue box? Do a Google Hangout and find out. Forgetting the lower third. The lower third is what you're looking at right here where it says Alex Mandossian, marketingonline.com. Forgetting the call to action. Use your pen or a pencil and take that note under useful takeaways. That's a call to action. Forgetting to start broadcast. Well, Ann did the broadcast, otherwise you couldn't be watching this. And then forgetting the webcam is when you're talking, don't look at the screen like this. Look at the screen when someone else is talking to you. When you're talking, look straight into the camera. And that is the end of that page. Ann, back to you.
All right. Wow, that was really good. Loaded. Great advice. So do we also want to the most advances are by mistake? That's a pretty cool quote. You uncover what is after you get rid of what isn't.
That's
But
by Buckminster Fuller. I mean, you know who he is, and you know you've been to our training center at the QLN Conference Center. Bucky said, all my discoveries were by mistake. You know, I uncovered what is by getting rid of what isn't. That's what has earned me the right to be the Google Hangout guy. In fact, if you go to Google and you type in "make money with Google Hangouts," I'm on the first page. I dominate. Profit with Google Hangouts, I'm on the first page. I dominate. King of funnel marketing, I'm on the first page. I dominate. How did I dominate? Not with search engine optimization. That's getting old and it's getting obsolete. I call it SAO, social authority optimization. Google is about authority now. It's not about linking. It's not about search engine optimization. It's not about keywords as much as it is about authority. And guess what? It all starts with Google Hangouts. Why? Because Google owns Google+. So doesn't it make sense if you're going to do business online and you want to broadcast something, why not do something that you know that Google will discriminate in their favor? They own Google and they own YouTube. They don't own Facebook. I know Facebook is powerful, so is Twitter, so is LinkedIn, but Google doesn't own those companies yet. They own Google and they own YouTube. That's why I do Google Hangouts, and that's why I hang out there.
yeah, and great, another great point. Now, also the other thing, everybody, think about this. The most powerful videos online are interviews that are delivering great content, and this is what you're learning to do. The most, even the most more powerful than that, are interviews. If you're interviewing or being interviewed, that's even more powerful, especially if it's produced in a talk show setting. So Google wants great content. You know, they really are pushing hard to get great content because, you know, most people are on there just talking heads. But what we're talking about here is producing a show with great content like what we're doing right now. I'm actually going to be taking excerpts of this. Now, this is for a lot of the, you know, our private people. Now, I will be taking a lot of this content and putting it on Google, different places, on Hangout. We're going to be marketing with this. So as long as you have great content, you're delivering great content, you're going to be noticed on Google. Again, you know, everybody's looking for it. So now we're going to go to, let's see. Oh, yes. I went down a page. Okay, let's see. 3 reasons why entrepreneurs fail. Oh.
This is my favorite. This is my absolute favorite because the only thing worse than going in the wrong direction is going in the wrong direction enthusiastically.
I love that quote of yours. I tell you, no, Alex, that is one quote I have actually been repeating. You know, I just love it because it's so, I have a visual on it, really going fast forward in the wrong direction. Oops, now I'm twice as further away than where I really want to be. Okay, now I have to go back, which I've done that myself, by the way, so I just love that one.
Well, and, you know, I call that an Alexism, and you can have your own isms, and you can put them on Facebook or on Google+, and you can get a lot of traction. But there are 3 reasons why entrepreneurs fail. I've been teaching for 21 years. I've generated nearly $400 million, that's 9 figures, $400 million for myself, my partners, and my students in that 21-year period. And, you know, some people have made a lot more, some people have made less. But I found that there are patterns of 3 reasons why people fail. And the first one is, you can fill this in, is they fail to get started. Write that down. They don't start. They buy a book, it goes on the shelf. They buy a course, it goes on the shelf. They are learning, like in this interview, and they don't utilize it. So they fail to get started. Reason number 2, they fail to keep going. Now, there's this thing called Big Mo, as in momentum. In business, you got to keep going to build momentum because with momentum comes power. You know, on a farm, you'll see a water pump, and when you're pumping, initially the first few pumps, nothing comes up because the water is being sucked up like a vacuum from the water table down below. You may pump 3 or 4, 50, or maybe 50 times, nothing comes, and then a drop comes out, and then 10 drops, then 1,000 drops, then 1,000,000 drops, because you've kept it going. Many people quit too soon. Bill Gates, in the beginning, said, I used to put in 1,000 inputs and sleep under my desk and I work like an animal. And at Microsoft, I only got 1 output. I put in 1,000 inputs and got 1 output. He said, when we were in momentum, Today, we can put in one input and get 10 million outputs. Why? Because momentum. So allow, once you get started, for things to take effect. It takes time. Look at nature. The bamboo behind me, you don't see it for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Some species of bamboo you don't see for 15 years. Imagine the first bamboo farmer in Indonesia. He was probably laughed at. His wife probably left him, right? Well, what happened? It hit momentum after the time it was supposed to sprout because it had this root system underneath. And if you're like bamboo, be like bamboo, then you'll shoot up very quickly. Bamboo shoots up in about 6 weeks after it has that root system. Number 2 reason to fail, because they don't keep going. And then the third reason is people don't follow mentors. They don't follow mentoring. They don't get a mentor. They don't hire a mentor. You don't want an accountability partner. Find a mentor that you pay for, so you're giving a little bit of your freedom, your money, to them, so you take it seriously, so that you're accountable. It comes from the Roman Senate, the word accountability, the ability to be accounted for. As a Roman senator, I went to Rome and I stood right where they stood. They stood up and they were accounted for. That means that they were there. That's why 90% of everything in life is just showing up. So the 3 reasons why people fail, and I'm sure you've seen it and felt it and experienced it and maybe have suffered from it, is failing to get started, failing to keep going, and failing to follow the mentoring. Many people get a mentor and they don't even listen to that person. It's ridiculous. You paid for it. They don't listen or they drop out. So if you can get rid of those 3 reasons, you have just won by not losing. And that is why we are here, Ann, is we want to win by not losing. We want to tip the scales in your favor, get rid of what isn't working and finding what is, and that's what you're getting. Each one of these pages, each page that you're seeing here in this action guide probably has cost me over $10,000 in testing and tracking. So I hope you're taking notes, because you're getting it at no cost.
No, it's a lot of powerful, powerful information here. And, you know, unfortunately, I have made all of those mistakes and I have done all the things you're talking about. But the good news is I continue to go, and the results are showing because of all the things that you're saying. Exactly. So now we are on to, the FIT formula, introducing the 3-step. I like the FIT formula. It sounds better. So what are those 3 steps, Alex?
Well, getting started is the toughest thing. So people don't know how to get started on Google. I'm going to show you a way that's so simple that anybody can do it, and it takes less than 90 days. Now, look at all the progress we've made so far. This is all the learning we've had. These are all the cards that I've shown you so far, and I hope that you've spilled some ink, because the palest ink is better than the best memory. So if you have some ink there, that's good. And here's the thing, you don't have to be the first to do Google Hangouts in your area of interest or expertise. You know, the early bird may get the worm, but it's the second mouse that gets to enjoy the cheese. Okay, what happened to the first mouse? Well, not a good story. So remember, you don't have to be number 1. You can be an Avis and try harder and be number 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, as long as you're using a medium as powerful as Google Hangouts. And how do you become a number 1? How do you get started? That's the number 1 question we get at this point. And the quote I have at the very bottom is from T.S. Eliot. He was a poet, and he was a literary critic, and he said, "Only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far they can go." Well, I want you to spend 80% of your time on the F part. So fill this in. The FIT formula is follow, invite, tell. Follow. Say the word follow with me, Ann. Say follow.
Follow.
And then the second word is what?
Invite.
And the third word is?
Tell.
But it starts with what?
Follow.
Follow. Now here's what you do. What do you have on Facebook or Twitter or Google? You have followers. You have followers. So here's what you do. Pick 3 to 5 thought leaders or people of influence, social influence, in the area of your interest or expertise. For me, let's say they are a friend of mine, Jack Canfield, whom I know. He doesn't count because I know him. Seth Godin, he's a well-known author, and he used to co-author with J. Conrad Levinson, who was a dear friend of mine, lived in the same city. He's no longer here. He's passed on. But Seth co-authored with Jay, but I never got to meet Seth. So Seth is someone I'm following, and Seth doesn't know me, right? And then another one is Guy Kawasaki. Okay, now Guy Kawasaki has been involved with Apple many, many years, and he's also a huge Google Plus and Google Hangout fan. He has his own Hangouts. Now, let's take Seth and Guy. All right. Now, I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but they are people whom I would follow. Now, here's all I do. I follow them every day. I comment. I share. I tweet. I like. I re-comment. I do whatever I can on all the social media wherever they're going. I'm following them. I'm kind of like a cyber stalker, but in a good way. I'm not bothering them. I'm following and acknowledging them. William James, great philosopher, and even I would call him a psychotherapist, he said that the deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. So this is what we're doing. We're appreciating someone else, and when we do that, they grow. It's like an appreciating investment. So I follow, and look, after 10 days, they're not going to notice you. 20? Nah, not really. 30? Maybe. 40? Possibly. 50? Yeah, you're showing up. You're going to Hangouts that they're doing, or you're on Facebook, and you're acknowledging them. You're edifying them. 60 days, they start noticing you. 70, of course they're noticing you. If you've done it every single day for 70 days, they're going to notice you. They're going to, who is this person? And remember, you're not kissing up to them. You're just acknowledging them. You're taking your expertise and just following them. 80 days, 90 days. After 90 days, no question, absolute certainty, you will get noticed if you follow them every single day for 5 minutes. 300 seconds every day per thought leader. That's all I want you to do. Follow. Now, once they've noticed you and they start acknowledging you, you don't want to do it too quickly, then invite them to a hangout. Now you become a citizen reporter. Invite them, just like Ann has invited me. I have a bigger following on Google than she does right now. That's going to change, I'm sure. And so I invite people to watch this show, right, because she's invited me. So when you invite that social influencer, they're going to invite their tribe. And when that happens, then you tell. So this is 80%, this is 10%, this is 10%. This can take 90 days, but who ever heard of in 90 days getting to know someone other than, let's say, the president or the CEO of a Fortune 500 or Fortune 100 company who doesn't have the time to notice you? You can find any social influencer to follow. You're going to get noticed. When that happens, know when the time is right to invite them into an interview on a Google Hangout. They'll invite their tribe. Why? Because they want to not only be appreciated by their tribe, they're appreciating you for following them for so long. And then you tell the whole world, and now you have something that you can repurpose, which means you can record it, split it up, make it into a recording, get their permission to write a book or an ebook or a special report or a consumer awareness guide. It does not matter what you end up making it. What matters is, because you followed them for 90 days, sometimes it takes 60. I've done it in 30. You invite and then you tell the world. That's the way you go, risking going too far. You're not really risking anything. And that is the formula, and anyone can do it, and I've yet seen anyone fail with that formula. F does not stand for fail, it stands for follow. What do you think of that, Ann?
I love it, Alex. I love it, and it makes perfect sense. We seem to have a theme going on here. Pretty much everything that you're suggesting, it's about having staying power, having commitment to every step. Just stay on track, do what you need to do, and definitely with the follow, there's a huge return on the investment of time and energy, and to me, it's actually a pleasure to be interacting with people and learning from people, because as we follow somebody we like, admire, and are learning from, that's huge for us. So it's not just that you're going to get them down the road. It's every day that you follow whatever you're commenting or retweeting. That's something that's going in your brain bank, in your knowledge bank. So it's definitely, I love it. As a matter of fact, Alex, I am going to take this suggestion and I'm going to follow 3 people and on a daily basis. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's like Joseph Campbell, who wrote The Power of Myth. He said, follow your bliss. So you're following your bliss in the form of a social authority, And by following them, you're learning anyway. You might as well be known publicly by acknowledging them publicly.
Yeah, love it, love it. Okay, so we are now on introducing the theory of engagement. Ooh,
Ah.
this sounds very engaging and mysterious. Go for it.
Well, Albert Einstein came up with the theory of relativity, and he said that E equals mc squared. And mc was the mass times the speed of light squared, right? Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. Well, c to me is not the speed of light. In fact, this formula, when you see it here, this equals something cubed, which means to the third power, mc1, mc2, mc3. So let's take a look at what it is. So E, in this case, stands for engagement, and it's going to be mc cubed. So put that in the brackets. The formula is engagement equals mc cubed. Now let's take a look at which each of the mc's are. The first mc is message clarity. You have to have message clarity like I am, like I'm doing here with different colors and with action cards, to be perfectly clear. Even if you don't even know what I'm doing, it's at least engaging. And that's what the engagement formula is. It's engaging you. Even if you have no idea what I'm doing, at least it's a little bit of fun because you're writing this stuff down. Next, message consistency. That's the second MC. You got to be consistent. You got to do it again and again. When you follow someone, a social authority, you have to do it consistently every day, 7 days a week. If you honor or worship a Sabbath, then take a day off. But 6 days a week minimum. 5 minutes a day, that's 300 seconds. If you have 5 people, that's 5 minutes times 5. That's 25 minutes a day. Big deal. That's going to pay huge dividends. And then the third MC is message convergence. Now, this is where people get confused. Okay, I understand, Alex, message clarity. Okay, that's the new creativity these days, to be clear. Okay, message clarity. I'll give you a clear message. It's the difference between knowledge and wisdom. You ready? Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. It looks like a vegetable. It smells like a vegetable. It grows on the vine like a vegetable, but tomatoes are fruit. That's knowledge. Wisdom is knowing never to put tomatoes in fruit salad. Okay? Now that's message clarity, because what I just said in less than 30 seconds, I gave an idea that could take months to really recognize and identify. In fact, many of you have probably forgotten that a tomato is a fruit. You know, my kids haven't because they know that joke. Well, it's not even a joke. It's a truth. Now, message consistency, you are not sending your message to a grandstand of people in a football stadium or in a hockey arena or in a baseball stadium or any sports stadium. Okay? You are sending your message to people who are in a parade. They just keep coming by. The parade, instead of walking, they're clicking around, right? Well, message convergence means using all the power of social media and converging into one place. So take your message, split it up on all the other social media, and have all of it come to one place and converge. That's where people go wrong. That's where they go in the wrong direction enthusiastically. They send people to multiple places. Have them go to your blog or to your Google Plus page, as we'll see in a moment later on in this action guide, or to your Facebook fan page, or to your irresistible offer online, or to your opt-in page. I don't care where. Just have them go somewhere where it's one place. For me, it's marketingonline.com. That's why you see it down below, where there's a persona and hero assessment. There's an assessment people take, and you can't even opt in to come into my list before you take the assessment. So that's my convergence. I make that message before I even talk to someone. I want to know what their personality is like, because depending on how you come out on the other end, I'm going to talk to you differently. And that's the element of elegance that I've gotten as being a marketer. And by having a domain like Marketing Online, I better be good. So those are the 3 MCs. E equals MC squared. Message clarity, message consistency, and message convergence. We'll look at convergence later on so you see exactly the way it works, which brings us to a 3-question way to maximize engagement. Now, this is what I think anyone should do. Like when you're introducing this show, and that you use these 3 questions, and there are 3 whys. Start with why. Okay, now why is a very important word. It starts with the heart. What is the head? Why is the heart? How are the hands, right? Head, heart, hands. Well, it's the why that gets things moving. It's kind of like the what is the steering wheel. You know, that's all about the head, you know, turning and weaving, but the why is the accelerator pedal. And so you have to accelerate first before you can even steer. You can't steer when the car's, you know, standing still. Going like this is like being a kid just trying to steer a car that's not moving. But if you press on the accelerator pedal after you put the key in the ignition, that starts with the heart of the car, which is the engine, and the battery ignites it, and boom, you're off. Those are the questions of why. So there are 3 whys. And so write these 3 whys down when you are going to sell your hangout or promote or engage. Because when you engage someone, they want the answers to 3 questions. And this is a formula. It took me about 20 years to learn, but it comes down to simplicity. Okay? And it's not complex. Very, very simple. Here it is. This is wisdom. Why this? Why us? This can also be why me, right? Why this? Why us or me, and why now? So why are you listening or watching this Hangout? Because you want to learn how to have a web TV show like Google Hangouts, and you want to get more reach and more exposure. Why are we uniquely qualified? Well, we've made more mistakes, I already told you, than anyone else. We got rid of what isn't, and we know what is. And why now? Because now is the time. We're at the ridicule stage of truth, meaning it's still going to be violently opposed, and we'll be way ahead of the game. It's like Facebook 2006. It's like Google in 1999. It's like Apple in 1985. It's like IBM in 1960. We are at the ground floor, and it's up to you to take advantage of it. You don't want to be doing this like a monkey 3 years from now when everyone else is in on this action. Now is the time. Your time is now. 3 whys. Why this? Why us? And why now? One is about relevance. Why this? Okay, in other words, why your topic, whatever your topic of expertise is, you start the show by saying, why this? I did. And then, why you? That's credibility, the ability to be credible. And then, why now? That's the urgency. I've been giving you urgency throughout this whole show. Does all of that make sense, Ann? I want to make sure that we're on the same page.
Yes, Alex, it makes perfect sense. And one of the points that I've been making over and over again is timing is of the essence. This is the gold rush for web TV. You know, right now it's so wide open. It is so wide open. Like on traditional TV, Alex, who is the best known talk show host on traditional TV?
Well, it used to be Oprah Winfrey, right? But prior to that, it could have been Mike Douglas. It could have been Johnny Carson. There's Conan O'Brien at night. But I would say Oprah was the best known.
Okay, so who is the best known talk show host on web TV?
The jury's out on that one. I don't know. Who is it?
Nobody, and that's the whole point. On traditional TV, Dr. Roz is the best known talk show host. Well, on web TV, it's wide open. And This is the important thing here. Pick any topic, pick any niche, pick any market. There is nobody who has claimed the title, and it's wide open. And we know that it's not going to last that long because people are catching on, and they're out there putting together their shows to get out, and be known. So this is the timing. I figure, we have probably about a year before it kind of gets taken. What's your take on that, Alex? Timing.
It all depends on how many people believe us. If more people believe us, it's less time. If less people believe us, it's more time. So it's just about how credible this message is. The next page is not relevant to any of the viewers. It's page 6, except for the quote, "The deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated," because this is the exact same action guide I utilize with my joint venture partners to have made over $1 million teaching people how to get into my course. So I'm not selling anything. There are no bonuses here. So I'm not going to have you fill these in like I do. That's how powerful this is. I'm giving you the actual pre-training that I have made over $1 million from utilizing Google Hangouts. If I can make over $1 million in less than 11 months on Google Hangouts, you can do 1/10 of that, 1/100th of it in your area of expertise. And so I'm saying whoever believes us, okay, they're on the path of making this work for them.
Well, Alex, I say, you know what? We're right. We're on the path. We're in the right place. We're making believers, because if they don't get it with all the information, with the proof, right, that you're showing right here, and what the message that we're putting out there, then I don't know what else will, because it's happening right now, and you're giving step-by-step instructions on what really Google Hangout is and how to utilize it, how to leverage it. And we're like, oh, like what, halfway in between here in this message. It's like, it's amazing, amazing information, and I love the way you're delivering, because I get the power, I get the urgency, and I know everybody else does. And again, going back to, I just love the way you connect the known to the unknown. It makes it really easy to consume and internalize. A lot of people can tell us things, but the way you give the examples, it makes it easy to not only visualize, but say, oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, totally. So I have a feeling that you're already making quite a few believers right now. So and I'm thrilled. Thank you. And I'm glad you're doing it here now. Okay.
Well, I'm ready. Let's go to page 7, shall we, and just pass the bonuses because we're not selling anything. You ready?
Yes, we're ready. The 9 media platforms to integrate with Google Plus. Yes.
Okay, now this is where message convergence comes in. Now, I get a lot of argument and I start to roll when I tell them to send all their traffic to their Google Plus page. So just imagine it doesn't say Google Plus. Just imagine it says your blog, or imagine it says your website, or imagine it says your irresistible offer. Wherever your main website is, it could be marketingonline.com like mine, or it could be your Google Plus page or your Facebook fan page. Some people who love to tweet could make it their Twitter profile. Just somewhere where you can capture names or have people take action. All right, so I don't care where it is, but this is where message convergence. Remember, it was message clarity. I hope I've been clear. Message consistency. I've been saying Google Hangouts is the thing consistently until I'm like a broken record, right? There's no such thing as a record anymore. It's all digital. Now is message convergence, and one by one, we're going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we are going to put messages that are all going to go to one place, whichever that one place is for you. So, using a Google Hangout, you can take this video, you can extract the transcript, you can take the audio, and you already have the video, and you can put little bits and pieces, just like Anna's going to do. That's called repurposing. And you can start with box number 1, Facebook. So let's say I had a teaching, and the teaching was the 9 media platforms to integrate with Google+. All right, well, right now I could do a 5-minute hangout, which I'm going to do, a hangout within a hangout. And that 5-minute hangout, I'm going to ask Ann to repurpose. Now, this is 10 weeks of content. The first week is going shallow and wide with the 9 different platforms of integration. And then week 2 is going deep with the first. I just gave it to you, Facebook. Week 3 is going deep with number 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, all the way to 9. So this page alone gives you 10 weeks of content to dominate by keywords and titling your Google Hangouts properly. You can have 5 to 10-minute hangouts and dominate your niche if you're overseas, or niche if you live in the United States. You get rich in your niche if you're a U.S. citizen, or riche in your niche if you're overseas. Okay, so here's number 1, Facebook. You want to use Facebook. Look, money doesn't buy happiness, we know that, but it sure makes misery a lot easier to put up with. So number 2 is Twitter. Twitter. You can be tweeting to your heart's content, and you do it again and again and again. Now, many people think that they only got one shot at something. You don't. You don't need a parachute to skydive, folks. You just need a parachute to skydive more than once. So I'm giving you a parachute. Facebook, Twitter, even if you messed up. Number 3, LinkedIn. LinkedIn. You can put LI for short. Number 4, your business cards. You should be putting wherever you want to send your traffic on your business card, so you actually capture the leads when you're at a seminar or an event. Number 5 at the very top, that's at 12 o'clock if this were a clock, and that is YouTube. You want to post things on YouTube weekly. Number 6, on your stationery. Who uses stationery? I do. I write 2 thank you notes a day, and believe me, they pay off. 2 thank you notes a day is over 700 thank you notes a year. Do you think that that's going to come back to me? I do it self-servingly and benevolently. Email signatures is number 7. You know that little thing after your email, whether you have Gmail or any kind of email program, the email signature file is what's underneath your name, and I change it every single week. I'm always sending them some type of Google Hangout offer where they get to watch a Hangout with me. Here's the thing. If people go to a page online, they may be there for about 60 seconds. If people go to a Google Hangout, they'll watch it for 60 minutes. Do you have any doubt? How long have you been with us? Over 60 minutes. Is it engaging? Is it working? Don't take them to these wooden plastic pages that just have copy. Take them to a Google Hangout. Video doesn't even hold a candle to Google Hangout. Google Hangout is live or even on replay. There's a way to engage and interact. Articles is number 8. Your articles, whether it's e-zine articles run by Christopher Knight, a good friend of mine, or any of the article directories, you can take this content. How many articles have I written just with the transcripts of what I have uttered from my mouth? Dozens of articles. It can go until the end of the year. Why waste time? Remember, leverage is maximum productivity with minimum effort. That's what you need more of. You need skills, tools, and leverage. That is a summary of how we started. I hope it's making more sense to you. What's the 3 reasons why people fail? Do you remember? They don't get started, they don't keep going, and they don't follow mentoring. Are you going to follow what I'm saying? No one's making you do it, but if you don't follow it, what's the use of watching? Stop watching. You're wasting your time. Go watch TV or something, because this is not going to help. Okay, are you with me? And then finally, blogs. Your blog, that's number 9. These are the 9 different platforms that you can send and repurpose your Google Hangouts so that you get more done faster, better, and easier. You get more reach, and you dominate to be a talk show host in your niche. I'm going to say, Ann, that there isn't going to be the #1 talk show host on web TV. There's going to be multiple talk show hosts, because each niche or niche will have the #1 talk show host, and it won't be like television, because television is not as splintered as the net. We are in a niche or niche world, and you get to dominate the niche that you're in if you decide to say yes to this powerful technology and partner with Google and YouTube.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. You know what? I don't even want to take time to even make a comment with this, because I'm looking at the next one, 12 strategies to repurpose Hangouts. All right, Alex, let's go to it. Come on.
All right, 12 strategies. Here they are. Now, I'm going to have you write these down one by one by one by one by one. And remember, use the useful takeaways, because as Dorothy Height says, progress comes from caring more about what needs to be done than about who gets the credit. And I don't care about who gets the credit for these strategies. I just want you to get it done, because maybe one day I'll be seeking you out to do a Google Hangout because you have more reach than me. All right, number 1. This is my favorite. I make tens of thousands of dollars from this one strategy. It's a repurposing strategy. It's so simple to repurpose your Google Hangouts. Every single week, twice a week, I have what's called open office hours. Now, rather than people paying me $1,500 an hour, which is my consulting fee, that's a lot of money. I started at $70 an hour in 1993, and it's gone to $1,500 an hour, which my mother Carol says, for what? How can anyone listen to you more than 5 minutes? That's what she says. Well, many people do listen to me, right? She's an Armenian mother. She can't help it. That's in her nature to say that. And no one knows that better than Ann. So as a result, because she's Armenian descent. Now, open office hours is where you can have 50, 60, 70, 80 people. They're paying me $1,500 for 3 months to get access to me for an hour a week for 3 months. 12 hours of access for $1,500. That's called open office hours. Multiply that by 60 people, and that's a lot of money. If you're hyper busy, you can have open office hours once a week, or like me, twice a week. One is for Asia and Australia, and another one is for North America and Europe. Very powerful way to repurpose your Hangouts. Next is group coaching. If you're a coach, why not have group coaching through Google Hangouts? You can record them, and you can have all the people on the group coaching. People learn from each other as much as they learn from you. Next, strategy sessions. If you have high-ticket items, you want to bring them into a strategy session. Mine lasts anywhere from half an hour to an hour, and I do them with multiple people on. I don't do one-on-one. I do multi-people, multi-person strategy sessions. And what am I selling? $25,000 offers on a strategy session. What would anyone spend $25,000 for? Well, they come to my office for 8 hours, and then they get follow-up for 3 months, and that's called my deep dive, and I teach them how to create their marketing funnel. Now, if they say no to that, then I give them a $3,000 offer. That's my downsell. If they say no to that, then what do? $1,500. What is it? Open office hours, and everyone says yes to that. So no to 25,000, no to 3,000. They say yes to 1,500. Change the numbers around. End up at 500 or 300. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have as high a number as me. Very powerful tool to have a strategy session. Next, a mega summit. Now, I think that you've been part of these. This is where you have multiple people on a Google Hangout. I invented the telesummit with a teleseminar. A mega summit is where you have Google Hangouts with multiple people on there selling your offer if you're having a launch. Number 5, preview trainings. This is a preview training. This actual training is a preview training to my course that I typically sell, which I'm not selling here. Nothing's for sale except the knowledge. But preview trainings are a great way to sell into something else, and that's what a Google Hangout can do because it's so engaging, like I'm using these cards. Next, people are speed dating on Google Hangouts. You don't need a breath mint. You can see the person. You don't have to worry about, was that a good picture, a bad picture? People are speed dating. You can run a speed dating agency. There are different ethnic speed dating agencies out there. Use Google Hangouts for speed dating. It's very, very hot. Music lessons. My son can learn the drums on Google Hangouts. Guitar lessons, flute lessons. If you're a musician, you are crazy going to someone's house these days. Use a Google Hangout and make sure the parents are in the background so the kids are actually doing the work. Next, you got cook shows. My daughter is a great baker. In fact, I got her on Cake Boss. And the way I got her on Cake Boss is I did a Google Hangout. I showed him what she did. And we got this website called CakeBossRocks.com, and my daughter Brianna actually got into and met Buddy. That's Cake Boss, and it was a most memorable time that she had in New Jersey that she ever had. Now, she also has watched a friend of mine who has a cooking show. She runs a gluten-free cooking show, how to make gluten-free crepes from her kitchen using her laptop and the webcam. And a cooking show is a great way to have a Google Hangout and become #1 in your area of expertise. Personal training. I have a Dutch personal trainer. His name is Ivar, and he has clients from all over the world. He sets it up in his garage, and he has personal training sessions on a Google Hangout, and he's making money with multiple people on the television that he's watching. It's a big flat screen. You can do the exact same thing if you're a personal trainer, or save money. Don't go into the gym. Do like CrossFit training in front of your webcam and find a personal trainer. You'll charge less money. You know, you don't have to charge $200-300 a session or $100 a session. $50 a session with 6 people on, you're making $300. Recovery meetings, whether it's a substance abuse or any kind of recovery that you're in and just healing from all over the world, people are getting into 12-step programs with Google Hangouts because they get access not only in the meeting, in a physical meeting which they go to, but all over the world when there's a fellowship of some kind. Very powerful way to heal, especially with different nationalities and nations. Spiritual gatherings. I believe church, synagogue, mosque, I believe a temple should be at home. So there's a mega church that I work with. There's 15,000 people in the congregation. They do Google Hangouts and the spiritual gatherings where the whole family is around the computer. And the pastor is giving the sermon on a Google Hangout. It's amazing. And then citizen reporting. This is what Ann does. Imagine going to the Oscars, all the Golden Globe Awards, or to any show that is nationally televised or very popular, or a trade show, and you take this thing, you take a mobile phone and you do a Google Hangout, and you say, I'm over here, and oh, there's Joan Rivers irritating yet another celebrity, and oh, look, there's Dustin Hoffman walking by. You can become a citizen reporter just like Napoleon Hill was for Think and Grow Rich and make a fortune that way. Those are the 12 strategies to repurpose Hangouts. If that doesn't make you money, I don't know what will, Ann.
Well, they're all great ideas, Alex. Actually, I love quite a few of them. They're very, really applicable, you know, for me. And by the way, we're actually putting together training for citizen reporters. That's how much it's needed out there. Because what's happening right now is there are all kinds of trade shows across country. There are seminars going across the globe. So we are needing people to go to that event and interview the speakers. So citizen reporters are coming in, I mean, in huge demand. Even the distribution channel we have available, they want people to go to different restaurants and you know, basically be food critics and
Right.
movie critics. So it's very much in demand. So if any of you feel like, you know, when Alex said citizen reporter, you know, you got a little, oh, that sounds like fun. Trust me, you definitely want to do that. Even if you don't want to go play full out yet, you're not ready to play full out, to have your own TV show, you can start by becoming a citizen reporter and delivering some great video tips and, you know, all kinds of amazing things that are out there that you yourself can have a part in. I love that. Thank you, Alex. Some great ideas, of course. I don't know why I'm surprised. I'm not, but I was just like, oh, that's really a good one. Very exciting. Okay, so let's see now. We have overcoming 2 crippling objections. Oh, yeah, this is going to be awesome. Go for it. Let's see. I can't wait to hear this.
I don't care what business you're in. I don't care what walk of life you come from. There are always 2 objections that are the overarching objections. When someone says, I can't do that, it always boils down to 2 reasons. When someone says, I can't take that course, it boils down to 2 reasons. When they say, I don't want to pay that money, it comes down to 2 reasons why. If they can't travel somewhere, or they can't participate in something, or they can't buy something, or they can't change their lifestyle, it's usually 2 overarching reasons. They're always the same, and they are this. Fill it in. I don't have the time, and I don't have the money. All right, I love when I hear these, because the reason I put it here is because people, when they're about to spend $2,000 with me, this is what they get at this time. I tell them, don't insult me after we've come this far and tell me you don't have the time to do Google Hangouts and add it to your marketing mix so that you can live the life you deserve and fulfill your hopes and dreams and build a legacy for yourself, your children, or for the future. Don't insult me to say that you don't have the time, because I have the same amount of time that you do, as does Warren Buffett, as does Oprah Winfrey, as did Steve Jobs. Now he has all the time in the world. When you're living, everyone has 86,400 seconds a day. They're little gifts until you don't have them anymore. Everyone has 168 bigger gifts a week. Those are hours. And everyone has 52-week gifts, 52 of weeks gifts. That's 52 weeks a year, every single year. So don't tell me you don't have time. You don't have the time to do it. That's not what you're telling me. I'll tell you what you're really telling me, and I just want you to be honest with yourself, and this is what I tell my students. Don't tell me time. That's not the reason. All right, let's get the money. Don't tell me you don't have the money. That's not the reason. That is what you're falling back on because you have no better excuse. You have the money to eat. You don't have a sign saying, please pay $1 with a starving dog next to you where people are putting dollar bills in your cup. I've actually gone to those guys sometimes, and I've changed their signage. And they've actually made more money because I used to be a copywriter. And I've actually changed, their signs. Now I get high fives from some of them when I pass them by in Marin County. It's awesome. But, I don't know what they do with that money, but what I do know is don't tell me you don't have the money because you are not begging, okay? You may be in debt. You may be knee-deep in debt, but you have access to money. You can borrow it from somebody. So time and money are not factors. If you really if your life depended on it, you would have the time and the money. But your life doesn't depend on it, and you don't treat it that way. Therefore, you throw those excuses up, and you don't get started, you don't keep going, and you don't find a mentor because you say there's no time and there's no money. You have all the time in the world that I do, exact same amount, and I may have more money than you or less money than you. I don't know who you are, but you can always find the money if you put your heart to it. You may feel embarrassed asking for it, or you may feel shy about asking for it, but where does money come from? Other people, and anyone can find it. Donald Trump was $900 million in debt, and he got out of that hole. If he can get out of that hole with a comb over, you can get out of your hole too. All right? So don't tell me it's about money or time. I'll tell you what it's about. It's about the principle of priority. which is what we're doing next. And the principle of priority is this. I want you to know the difference between what is important and what is urgent, and I want you to do what is important first. Just as if you had 3 days to live. Because if you had 72 hours to live, you wouldn't do what's urgent in your life. You wouldn't be doing what other people told you to do. I'm not telling you to do anything. No one's making you watch this far. It's up to you if you want to put this into use. It's not going to impact me any. In fact, it'll impact me if you do put it to use and you seek me out after you have a following, because chances are I may want to interview you for my show. But the principle of priority is what it's about. So when you say I don't have the money, you're saying you are not a priority for me to pay you the money. When you say I don't have the time, you're really saying it's not a priority for me to give up the time to do this. It's all about the principle of priority. And just like Hippocrates, now when doctors take the Hippocratic Oath, it comes from Hippocrates, known as the father of medicine. He said, many admire, few do. I don't want you to admire. I want you to do. You know, there were two orators of antiquity that one of my mentors, Jim Rohn, used to talk about. There was Cicero. He was a Roman. And when Cicero spoke, they used to say, what a great speech. Like all the Roman senators, he got assassinated. His life was taken like the rest of the Romans, right, at that time. But when he spoke, he was a great orator. He stayed alive for a long time because of his mouth. That was his tool. And they used to say, what a great speech. Well, they admired Cicero. Prior to him, there was a Greek. His name was Demosthenes. And he lived before Cicero did. And when he spoke, they used to say, let us march. And yes, it may have been a march for a battle. It was a battle cry when he spoke. Let's march against Philip of Macedon. But what was important is they did it. So take action, just like you've taken action with this action guide. That's why it's called an action guide, or with a pencil. I don't care what you've done. Even if you use your fingernail, I don't care. As long as you can go back and reread what you've written, that's what counts. Don't just be admired. Be remembered for doing. Know the difference between what is important in your life and what is urgent, and do what's important first. It's never about money or time. It is always, always about priority. And so I want you to write down the 3 big takeaways you got on the next page. I'm not going to give you the domain where to go, because I give a domain at the very end. I say, go here and buy my course for $2,000. I'm not going to give it to you, because that's not what this is about. What this is about is for you to tell yourself, these are the biggest takeaways I got. I just got 3 of them. Go back, flip through the pages, and then at the very end, I always put testimonials. If you want to give me one, you can send it over to Ann. You could be the next thought leader to give testimonials. You can see what the thought leaders say about me on the final page. And that is a training used on a Google Hangout. That's what Ann wanted. That's what Ann got. And there you have it.
Alex, thank you. That's what I wanted. That's exactly what you delivered. This is going to be viewed by many and transform many lives. And like Alex was saying, look, it's not about time, it's not about money, because, well, for one thing, if you start using Google Videos, Google Hangouts, you are leveraging time, because you're multiplying yourself. You're going to have a huge reach. You're going to get a lot more people watching your show. You're going to get a lot more people following you. You're going to get a lot more clients. So take action. Start. Google Hangouts is free, and you already know. I've showed you how to set up your home studio literally for a few $100s. So you have no excuses. You just take this, watch this video from start to finish, follow everything Alex has showed you, and implement, and you're going to have a huge, huge transformation in your own business right away. And I can't wait to see what you do with your show. So Alex, again, thank you so much for joining me today and delivering this amazing information. It's great content. And thank you for being a mentor of mine, and you continue to inspire me, and I can't wait to see what you're going to come up with next, or what I'm going to learn from this once I start looking at it and watching it again and going over my own notes. So Thank you, Alex, from the bottom of my heart.
You're welcome. I say pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So you don't have to suffer trying to learn through this. Go back and study this, and you'll hit pain from time to time, but that's important for growth. Don't suffer. You don't have to suffer. All you got to do is learn how to do this. And if you don't want to do it, don't. But don't waste your time. Move on to something that you do want to do. And if you don't want to do this, Google Hangouts, I just hope and I pray that we are competing with each other, because you will make my life a lot easier.
Okay, thank you everybody for joining us. I'm Ann DeVere, and this has been another episode of Turn Your Show into Cash. Until next time.